She stood trembling in the courtyard, her wedding jewelry ripped off, her dignity shattered under the cruel eyes of her in-laws. The people who once smiled at her now laughed as she cried for mercy. And just when her tears fell onto the cold marble floor, her father's black limousine appeared at the gate. What happened next would make the whole city whisper his name in fear. But before we reach that moment, make sure to like this video and subscribe right now because you won't want to miss how one man turned humiliation into unforgettable retribution. Ayesha Khan was the kind of woman whose presence lit up any room. At 25, she carried not just beauty, but grace and compassion that made everyone feel seen. She grew up in comfort. Her father, Imran Khan, was a billionaire industrialist known for his humility despite his empire. Ayesha, his only daughter, had always been his pride and heartbeat. When she fell in love with Zayn Malik, a charming yet ambitious young businessman from a middle-class background, her father hesitated but eventually gave his blessing. "If he truly loves you, my princess," Imran had said with a gentle smile, "then my wealth means nothing. Your happiness is my fortune." The wedding was grand, flowers draped over chandeliers, cameras flashing like stars. Everyone in Lahore talked about the union between the billionaire's daughter and the self-made man's son. Ayesha, glowing in her golden bridal dress, looked at Zayn with all the trust in her heart. She believed love would conquer every difference, every whisper about money and status. But the whispers never stopped. They grew louder after the wedding. Zayn's mother, Nusrat, never hid her disapproval. "She walks like a queen," she often muttered, "and shall soon treat this house like her palace." Zayn, torn between his love for Ayesha and his family's bitterness, began to change. His phone calls to Ayesha's father grew colder. His smiles turned forced. Ayesha noticed, but love made her patient. Days became weeks and weeks turned into silent months. Ayesha's every effort to win their hearts, cooking, cleaning, caring, was met with criticism. "You're too delicate for real work," Nusrat said one evening, sneering. "All you rich girls are good for showing off jewelry." Ayesha simply bowed her head, whispering, "I just want to be part of this family." But behind closed doors, her tears told a different story. Zayn, once gentle and affectionate, had begun to echo his mother's cruel tone. "Stop acting like a princess," he snapped one night. "This isn't your father's mansion." Each word cut deeper than any wound. Her father, Iran, called often. "Beta, how are you really?" he'd asked softly, and every time, Ayesha lied. "I'm happy, Papa. They love me here," because she didn't want to burden him. Because she believed somehow that love could still fix it. Then came the night of the family dinner, the night that changed everything. Ayesha had prepared the meal herself, every dish carefully seasoned the way her in-laws liked. The family sat around the table, the atmosphere tense but bearable, until Nusrat smirked and asked, "So, did your father buy you this diamond set, too?" Ayesha froze. "Papa gifted it to me for Eid," she replied softly. "It's not worth much." "Not worth much," Nusra scoffed, exchanging a look with her husband. "That set could feed 10 families. This is what happens when poor boys marry rich girls. They bring arrogance into our home." Ayesha felt her throat tighten. "I never meant." But before she could finish, Zayn slammed his hand on the table. "Enough, Ayesha. Always showing off. You think money gives you respect?" His voice thundered. "You're nothing here. Nothing." Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't speak. She just stood up quietly, intending to leave the table. That's when Nusra's voice struck like poison. "If you truly want to show how humble you are, remove all this wealth from your body." Ayesha froze. What? You heard me, Nusrat said, stepping closer. Take off those jewels, that dress, everything your father's money bought. You came here as our daughter-in-law, not a doll covered in gold. Zayn didn't stop her. Not a word. His silence was betrayal in its purest form. Trembling, Ayesha removed her necklace. Then her earrings. Her bangles clinked to the floor one by one. Every sound echoed like thunder in her heart. Are you happy now? She whispered, tears streaming down her face. But Nusra wasn't done. No, let everyone see what moneyless pride looks like. And then they dragged her into the courtyard under the eyes of servants and neighbors peeking through windows. Ayesha screamed for them to stop, to let her go. But shame had already filled the air. Her cries turned to silence as humiliation burned through her soul. When they finally left her alone, she sat on the cold ground, shaking. She had nothing left. No dignity, no trust, no voice. Only one thought echoed in her mind. Papa must never know. But fate has its own timing. At that very moment, a loyal servant of the Malik family, an old man who had known Ayesha since childhood, called her father in secret. His voice trembled as he spoke, "Sir, they have wronged your daughter. You must come now." That night, Imran Khan didn't sleep. He didn't cry. He didn't even speak. He just stared at the security footage. His men had retrieved from the Malik residence, his eyes dark with something the world had never seen in him before, rage. By morning, his private jet had already landed at the nearby air base. Black cars filled the road outside the Malik house. The entire neighborhood watched as a man in a perfectly tailored black suit stepped out, his face calm, his eyes burning with purpose. Ayesha, still trembling in her room, didn't know what was about to happen. Her father was here, and he wasn't leaving without justice. The sun had barely risen when the Malik mansion trembled with the arrival of power. Black cars lined the gate. Men in suits surrounded the house, and silence spread like fear itself. Inside, Zayn and his parents stared at the sight of Imran Khan stepping through the door, calm, composed, yet terrifyingly cold. "Where is my daughter?" he asked quietly. His voice didn't need to rise. It carried authority that demanded truth. Ayesha appeared at the top of the staircase, her face pale, her eyes swollen from crying. The moment she saw him, her strength broke. "Papa," she whispered, rushing into his arms. Imran wrapped her gently, his hand trembling as he felt the bruises of her pain. Then he turned toward Zayn's family and the warmth in his eyes vanished. "You shamed my daughter," he said slowly, each word deliberate. "You forgot who she was and who she belonged to." Zayn stammered, "Sir, it was a misunderstanding." Imran raised his hand. "No, a lesson." Within moments, his team entered. Lawyers, police officers, media reporters already waiting outside. Every hidden secret of the Malik family, tax evasion, illegal business dealings, fraud, was exposed to the world in a single morning. Their accounts were frozen, their company shares seized. The mansion they had built with pride now belonged to the man they had insulted. Nusra fell to her knees. "Please forgive us." Imran looked at her, his tone firm but calm. "Forgiveness is earned through humility, and you will learn it." Then he turned to Zayn. "You didn't protect her when she needed you most. So I'll protect her from you forever." With one command, divorce papers were placed before him. Zayn had no choice but to sign. Ayesha watched silently, tears of heartbreak and relief mixed on her cheeks. Imran took her hand, whispering, "You lost nothing, my child. You simply remembered who you are." As they walked out of the ruined mansion, the sun broke through the clouds. Cameras flashed and the world saw a father who turned pain into power and shame into justice. Broken heart. If you felt Ayesha's strength and her father's unforgettable retribution, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more emotional stories that touch your heart. Broken heart.